Hi, folks. This is Don Meisner with the North Country Fishing Report. I want to talk about something that certainly isn't about our region, but it's about the life that we live now and the ever-changing world that we're a part of. And this is the Yukon River crisis in Alaska. And this information came to me from the Washington Post. And the native people that live in that area, they've always, a huge part of their diet is eating the salmon that come up this river to spawn. And they've done this for decades and decades, maybe, well, we can go back farther than that. In eating these salmon, it's so rich in omega-3, the fatty acids, and it actually helps them to withstand the cold, the people, and also their dogs. They feed their dogs this almost exclusively. Well, over the last 4 years, there's been such an extraordinary decline in the salmon that are coming up this river. Up to 80% decline in the number of fish. And there's reasons for this. It's an ever-changing world that we live in. Number one, they feel most of it is due to climate changes. The oceans are getting warmer, especially this condition in the ocean. It's called the blob. And it's an area of the ocean where the temperature has gone up so much. Well, what happens when the ocean water's warm is that the young salmon populations can't deal with that increased temperature and they die off. The second thing is the water itself in the Yukon River has got warmer. So when the fish come up there, that warmer water creates more stress in their bodies. And as they go on their journey, because they're stressed, they become more susceptible to diseases that they would never have caught before. And there's other reasons that have caused this. The trawlers, the big ocean trawlers, they've been outlawed now in a lot of ways because they're having these vast nets out. And these nets don't just catch what they're after. They'll catch other species. And a lot of salmon have been caught up in these nets. And so there's such a stress on the life of these fish. But let's look at what salmon are. And salmon are so high in this fatty acid. And all of us, not just the native people of Alaska, but all of us need a certain amount of fatty acid in our body. It helps our heart health. It keeps the triglycerides lower in our blood, which prevents blood clots. I mean, I'm not a doctor, but I'm telling you that we all know that certain foods like sardines, like salmon, are high in this nutrient. But what am I really telling you about this? It's because no matter where we live, no matter what is in our environment around us, that can be very fragile. And we've seen how so much of the trout populations in the Adirondacks have died off over the last decades. And this can happen to anything. And the very thing that is such a big part of our life in the North Country right now is our fisheries, our fish resource that is bringing people here and is bringing money here to help stimulate our economy. This can all go by the wayside just because there's so many things in the environment that is always can cause risks. Think back to the virus that hit the St. Lawrence River. And now it's been quite a few years ago, but it decimated a big part of the population of a lot of the sport fish. And things like this can happen. So when I hear about this incredible watershed, the Yukon River, and the salmon that go up there, and we're talking about Chinook salmon, the very same salmon that you catch down in Lake Ontario. They're the ones that are richest in this omega-3 acids. They're what these people really need, and they can't get them now. And this is just like they talk about it. They say this salmon fishery is the canary in the in the cave down in the mine. This is the canary, and to see this happening, this is an indication that, anything can go wrong, and we got to be aware of that. But I think it's important to pass this on because so much of what I come on every week is to talk to you about is our fishery. And this is an indication that even some of the greatest fisheries in the world can fall by the wayside because of changes that a lot of times we precipitate. Until next time, folks, this is Don Meisner with the North Country Fishing Report.